think viewers will agree that the beauty of having all-stars return is witnessing their evolution. This season brings together some of the most beloved designers from previous seasons. How do you think their prior experience on the show will impact their performance and design approach this time around?
First of all, what a great question.
Very good one.
Okay, last interview coming through hot. Okay. That's a really great question. I think I guess first what I'll say is because the audience already has a relationship to these designers and to their work previously, there is this nostalgia factor that makes this season so special. We feel it as judges, Christian feels it in the workroom. They feel it among each other. A lot of these designers will tell you that they were inspired to become designers from some of these iconic designers that came before them on the show. So for them to be able to not just meet, but work side by side in the workroom with their personal design icons who inspired, again, like not just them coming on the show, but inspired their work is a really amazing thing. And I think Brandon has said this in previous interviews that like, this is not the dating phase. Like we are past the dating phase. We've done the getting to know you. We know your backstory. We know what your body of work has been thus far. This is your opportunity to tell us who you are now and what you're here to do to win. And I think that the stakes are so much higher. The competition is so fierce. And I think for us as judges, to answer your question, there is, I think in one hand, we're holding on to what we know of these designers, right? We're thinking about their body of work, their strengths and their weaknesses, but we're also there to judge what they show us today in real time, how they show up for these challenges that are very unique and very challenging. And do they rise to the occasion? Because, the iconic line from the show is like, one day you're in, the next day you're out. You could have been, the best of the best on your season. And maybe you should have or could have won, but for, maybe you had a bad day and you're coming back to prove that you really should have won. But at the end of the day, all of that is in the past. And all we are judging you on is who you are and how you show up today, your work today, and how it fits into this landscape that we're in 2020, I should just say today, because we shot it in 2022, but how your work fits into the fashion landscape today, which has changed so much since the beginning of this show. So some of the designers who were here season 1 who are coming back, it's a whole new world, baby. It's a whole new world. And how do you fit in today? That is the question that they're all asking themselves. And that's the question we're there to help them answer as well.
Perfect answer. My next question is going to be to Brandon. The judges panel features a diverse range of industry experts, including fashion designers, actors, and other fashion and arts professionals. How do your varying backgrounds and unique perspectives contribute to the judging process? And how do you balance that personal taste when judging?
You have really great questions. Really, seriously. Well, I think that, I can speak for like me, Nina, and Elaine, and we have fantastic guest judges who would just always bring something really unique. And it's like also brings such a great energy. I think that I would say that the three of us, well, Nina, Elaine, and myself, like we all are very close and know each other really well. We have very different taste. And I think that we all are looking at like different things. I would say, Nina's looking from a very, industry standpoint. I think that Elaine is looking really from like out in the world and, who she's, Elaine's more out in the world, certainly than I am. And I'm really looking like always from that sort of behind the scenes designer perspective and like what it takes to do it on a day-to-day basis at nighttime when you're, not out there in front of everybody. So I just think that we don't always agree. In fact, we disagree quite often. And we really like feel very passionate about it and we have to like talk it out. And I think when we have a guest judge come in, it's really helpful because like sometimes we're so in it, especially by the time we're into like challenge 4, 5, 6, we're really in it. almost as much as the designers are. And so when you have that person who comes in, it really helps bring like perspective to the situation, because sometimes they're just coming in and regardless of what their job is, they're like, it just was good or it was bad. And and by we're in challenge 5 or 6, we're, even though we've met these designers before, we know their story, we've worked with them, we're already 5 or 6 challenges in, invested in where they are today, right? We know where they were in challenges 1 through 4. We've been on that journey with them. So like, we may not always be looking just at the look, right? We might know that they had a really bad week the week before, or they had something fantastic the week before, right? And this is just a bad week for them and they can overcome this. But I think that, these guest judges who come in, who we're so lucky to work with, and they just come right in and they just tell you directly, like they have such a clean view on it. They're just like, it wasn't good. I didn't like it. And you're able to look and say, yeah, that's right. And that's what this competition is about. It's not, project 14 challenges or however many we have. It's Project Runway. You get one runway. And if it doesn't do well, then, you're out. Which, sadly is not always great. Yeah.
That was a great answer.
Thank you for that question.
Yes. So I'm going to move forward back to Elaine. Throughout the competition, as the all-star designers compete for redemption and a career-defining win, what advice would you give to them to stay focused and overcome the pressure and expectations that kind of come naturally throughout the season?
First of all, I just want to say to the press team, bravo press team, can we please use her questions as the model questions for us to prep from? Because these are the most thoughtful and thorough questions we've gotten.
Wow, thank you so much.
Gold standard for sure. So let me now try to answer your question. Oh, I'm so sorry. Dang, what was okay, tell me the last line again, just so I can remember.
So it was, what advice would you give to them to stay focused and overcome the pressure that kind of naturally comes with the season?
Man, I think it's very case by case. I think the designers each have different challenges that they're trying to overcome internally. And I think that you'll see that this season. You'll see how we have to address each of them very individually. But what I would say kind of overall is to remain open to seeing their work through another lens, and to be open to critique and feedback. I think that probably was harder for some of these designers this season versus other seasons, because in a lot of ways, these guys are vets. Like, they've done this before. I said before, like they're not new to this. They're true to this. Like, they've been here before. And for some of them, they've been in business for 20 years. And so to be put back into this position where you are being judged by a panel on national television, and put through these really intense challenges that really stretch you in unimaginable ways, it can be overwhelming. It is overwhelming. And some of them respond with their egos. Like they are kind of, sometimes it's harder for them to hear the feedback. It's harder for them to absorb the critiques. And I think that ultimately, the strongest survive, and the ones that make it the farthest are the ones who are open to listening to that feedback, absorbing it, taking it in, and not letting it, break you, but allowing it to strengthen you and your work. So I really loved working with the designers who leaned in when we shared our advice and respected what we had to say. And I think that the others that had a harder time taking in our feedback didn't make it to the end because they were too rigid, too unwilling to evolve, to grow with this opportunity. And ultimately, this is an opportunity. This is a growth opportunity for all of these designers. And unlike, maybe yesteryear in fashion, like we were there to speak life into them. We were there rooting them on. We wanted to see them win, like the days of fashion, judges and just people in fashion being catty for catty's sake is like, that's like that's over. We really were here just to root them on, to encourage them, and to try to give them constructive feedback. And so if they were there for that, they benefited from it. And if they really weren't in the mindset where they could take that in, I don't think, this competition wasn't really for them. So hopefully that answers your question.
That did. I absolutely love that you guys spoke life into them as well. I think that I'm at my 10-minute mark. So my final question is going to be for Brandon. In the fashion industry, trends come and go very quickly. How do you ensure that the winner of Project Runway has the potential for longevity and success beyond the show?
It's a really great question. Again, I would say that, listen, we're all judging on very different things, but I on each challenge. But I think the thing that I know that Elaine, Nina, and I are very united on, amongst many things, is that we know, Elaine has been an editor of, a massive magazine, as is Nina. They both are authors. They are, leading fashion experts. I have my own brand. I think the thing that we all know really clearly is that, like, whatever happened last season, especially now, is maybe not relevant this season, and it changes really fast. Trends, like you said, come and go. Like, you have a good collection, you have a bad collection. Like, so many people that we look up to in fashion have had bad seasons, like have had incredible seasons. It's like kind of, it ebbs and flows, but it's all about who is going to be strong enough to like continue down that, It's been so many times in my career when I've gone out there and I knew I did not do my best, and certainly when I was younger, when I was starting, I really was like, oh, I'll never have another shot at this again, but what I do know now is that that's always up to me. That is up to me to get up every single day, as, defeated, depressed, anxious as I can be about it, and to say, you know what, I'm going to give it another shot today. That is what I'm always sort of looking for, is who was the most consistent design-wise across the board? Who do I think was the most forward thinker? All of that, yes. But most importantly, who do I think has the determination to keep going when it's going to get really, really hard? When everything is going to fall down, which it does, and I can say, I'm on this phone call now with Elaine. I mean, Elaine has seen me while we're filming, but in our friendship at some very low moments in my fashion career. And it's hard. It's like you forget that there is another day and there's another time. And I'm always looking for that, like that strength and that perseverance to like continue to push through. And, I don't know if that answers your question exactly, but like, I do know that like Christian is one of the most successful people from this show because he wanted to be the most successful. And that is advice I would give to any young creative. Your success is up to you. You have to push yourself through every single door. You have to decide that you will be great. And I think that we, I think we accomplished that this season. I feel really strongly that we did.
I feel like you just took me to church. I just feel like I got to motivate the word.
Literally, I am very motivated. It was incredible speaking with both of you. You both are very inspiring, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your questions. From one journalist to another, I have to put respect on your questions because they were really, really great.